So, the singing was rather good, I thought, but do you know actually that Malmö this spring was hosting the Eurovision Song Contest? Yes, yes. I think someone won as well. But we are, during this session, going to find who is the best pitcher selling their new ideas for the future. And you will be the judge, the jury. But as you know, in Eurovision Song Contest, we don't have the time for these phoning in and saying that these are the votes from that and that country. So we have been inventive, or I have been. So you will find, when we go for the coffee break, that there are 2 bowls with marbles, small like this. Maybe you've been playing with them in the schoolyard when you was once a child. Each of you will have the possibility to take one, or you should take one. And then you should put it in one of the cans representing each pitch. So you choose the best. It might be the best that you would like to invest in. It might be the one that you feel most comfortable with. It might be the one that you feel your heart belongs to. Or anyway, you choose, you make the choice. But you have one marble to put in one of the cans for the one that you think is best. So we will have a winner after the coffee break. We will announce that. And this was my invention, to use the marbles. And we will use a scale to see who will be the weighing contest and who will be the winner. So actually, this is the Baltic Sea Region Stars contest. The best pitch after the project. And this time I also will use some experience from this morning. I have a time bandit who will actually, yeah.
So for contest we need a fair play. So each team will have 8 minutes. Well, we recommend you 3 minutes to introduce yourself and 5 minutes for pitching. And if the audience will have questions, you will have extra 2 minutes. So no more than 10 minutes each team. And I will be this innovative human clock. As you saw me, I will be standing when the time is over and trying to push kind of the team out of the stage. So this is like this.
Yeah, so we don't want to lose any more time. We know that they are eager to come up and do the pitch. And the starting pilot project is Active for Life. They will pitch about the future of Active for Life network. So it's Anders, Kerstin, and Laura. No, sorry, Katarina from Laura. So welcome on board and do your very best. It's a competition.
Good afternoon. I'm Anders Karlsson, representing the Joint Regional Innovation Initiative New Tools for Health.
Hello, I'm Kerstin Hinze from Germany. I'm representing Biocon Valley, a network of life science and health economy.
So I'm Katarina Rai from Finland, from Laurea University of Applied Sciences, and we are a very new member in the network of Active Life. But so far what has been done, so then they are very much lining with our objectives and with our research and development findings.
New Tools for Health is a joint regional initiative in East Sweden. By participating in Active for Life, we have realized the importance of not only taking a regional role, but also a national role. We are all small countries in a global perspective around this lake that we call the Baltic Sea. And it is important to really think about our entire nations. And now, when taking steps for the future of New Tools for Health, which is my initiative, we regard it as a prerequisite to really take a national role. So when it comes to the future for health and independence for older adults, and more specific when it comes to mobile health, I can speak for entire Sweden in order to prevent loneliness and to increase independence in connection with chronic diseases, for example. And a more active life, not to forget, for older adults.
So you have heard that Anders come from the southeastern part of Sweden. I come from the northeastern part of Germany. And you know, Germany or Mecklenburg-Vorpommern is a very rarely populated area. And so we are very interested in getting more out of Active for Life for our people. And this was a good starting point for us. And we try to develop such a living model for our people in the rural areas to connect them, to stay connected not only with the people at all, but also with the service providers. And we want to establish such an IT platform for using mobile devices, for using mobile health and mobile services. And that's why we think that the decision to work together with Sweden and Finland was a very good decision for us. So, okay.
So Laurea is the fourth largest professionally oriented university in Finland, and our interest at the moment, because we all know that we have a lot of technology in our countries, but it's not in use. So our interest is in the development of technology applications as part of integrated services and service chains. And what we are now focusing on is development and building living labs in our regions in order to show evidences and impacts. What does it really mean to have technology in use, and we will do it, we do it together with higher education, public, private and third sector organizations together. So it can be our future together.
It was just 3 minutes and 49 seconds.
So then we will get some
so maybe some
extra
questions. Well, do you have any questions? Like, could you give a concrete example of how, you know, you could help people, like some kind of problem that you could solve? Can you give a concrete example, for instance?
We have actually gathered a lot of information and elderly people's own conceptions, what kind of services they would like to have and what kind of services could help them at their own homes. So we have a lot of research findings. We should now use it for development of further. And one of the examples I can say is we call it caring TV, so that people can have online connections with healthcare professionals, social care workers, but also with each others, having peer support and different kind of services through in a virtual environment, but then in a way having a person present, because you can see pictures and contacts.
Okay. Any more questions from the audience? Is it clear? Yes, please.
Perhaps I didn't catch, but actually what is the main idea? You gonna work together to provide some services? I understood it's very nice you presented yourself, each of you. It was very interesting, but what is the idea? For what I should vote?
The main idea is to really make it possible for older adults to stay active and to prevent illness and problems as long as it is possible, which is very much also in line with the European policy for active and healthy aging. And that we can do in many perspectives. And one is to provide people with certain services. Might be based on products. I have one example that is an activity sensor that is able to log all kind of activity. You get scores for all kind of activity that you do, even if you do work in the garden or if you're cleaning the house. And then you can compete with other people, also people very active in sports. You get scores and it is normalized, and you can really play as you do in golf. That's one example. And such a device you can connect to certain services. You can connect to traveling, and maybe it is possible in connection with a traveling experience to get introduced to this device, and then you can use it back home as well and compete with other people that you learn to know during the traveling. Just a simple example.
Yeah, thank you. Please have another question.
What about already existing business ecosystems? How do you see your plans in combination to other partners that actually already are as businesses in the ecosystem? What do you offer for business partners? Or you will play a role of business? Or what industries will be affected? How do you see that business partnership?
Yeah, when I look back at our time during the Active for Life period, I must say that when you remember Hugo's speech in the morning, he told which activities we had done, and there was one video conference we had together with 5 countries, 60 people, older people, and they all have the same wishes and the same hopes for their life, and that means we had to look afterwards to find the companies, to bring them together, and then not only on a regional level, but also on an international or transnational level, that they can work with each other. So, and that means we do not want to develop new products, but we want to combine them in new business models and service models for them. Maybe one part is the tourism factor, that we can use the Baltic Sea, that they can visit each other in a special way, or we establish meeting cafes or anything like that. Yeah. And this is also for not only for the older people, but also for the service provider, that they can show their products and services for them.
So 1.5 minutes for the last question, could you please?
I see that many aspects of your project are very technically oriented with ICT and so on, but now elderly people very often have fear of getting too much in touch with ICT things. I'm thinking of my grandfather, who we bought a mobile phone, and every 2 weeks I explained to him 2 things. One, how to put the screen lock out, and the other thing is that the brain waves will not kill him from the phone. So how are you going to deal with those kinds of issues?
Okay, actually what I have noticed that they are not elderly people who are against new technology, they are healthcare professionals who are against health technology, because they think that elderly people can't do it and they are not available to do it, or they are not able to do it. But on the other hand, if we have different kind of possibilities to offer, let's say, for example, living labs as environments, they also offer a learning environment for people who are involved. So then acting together, developing together, that will be the answer.
I can add that we have learned that you should avoid the word technology. You should transfer it to an experience, and we can do that trick.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
And the next pilot to present their pitch will be Comfort in Living, with an innovative spring for furniture solutions. And it's Jerzy, Beata and Lotten will take the stage. Welcome. Up, up, up.
So while we wait, we present ourselves. My name is Lotten Svensson. I'm the project leader of this Comfort in Living. And here we have.
Yes. My name is Jerzy Smarzewski. I'm working at Poznań University of Life Sciences, Faculty of Food Technology, Department of Furniture Design.
And my name is Beata Fabisiak, and I'm also from the Poznań University of Life Science, the Department of Furniture Design.
And here we will present one product existing that you have done. And we show some small examples from the prototypes we have developed also in our project. We try to do, so far we can, to start with real products for elderly people, for the comfort for elderly people.
A movie.
Den ska tillbaka lite snabbt på hans film. Den.
Can you start?
No,
No,
the
no.
sound is
Is
here.
this-
They're
okay.
live.
So in our laboratories, we developed a new structure, new construction of spring. This is auxetic spring, which characterized by untypical mechanical properties. That means it is auxetic materials, and these materials have negative Poisson's ratio. That means in contact with human body, this kind of material, this spring, reduce the contact pressure between human body and materials and mattresses, and also reduce the tangential stresses between human body and mattresses. As we can see on these pictures, this material, this spring, reduce the width during compression. Comparing with typical spring like cylindrical or draconical springs, very popular in mattresses, this kind of spring is very, very comfortable.
What's important in this project is that we actually invited two companies, two furniture manufacturers. One is making upholstery furniture sofas for living rooms, and another one is making office chair furniture. And what's important, since we are engineering university, we haven't been looking for innovation in the form, in the external form, but on the innovation into materials and into internal structure of furniture. So we asked those two companies to choose one of their main products, that they will not change the external form, but they put this innovation into that furniture. And you can see on the movie those furniture, this purple set for the living room, and these sofas. It's with this big one springs that can you feel a lot of comfort. It doesn't depend how much weight you have, so it's to support your comfort of living, also of elderly people living. So you feel like on the water mattress or water pillow. That
Exactly.
is the best solution that we have. And actually, those products are those springs have been implemented in those products of furniture companies. So it's on the market. You can see the web page of those products. Another one was company making office chair furniture. This spring was a little bit lower for the office chairs. And another thing was that we invented some kind of support for the column of the office chair, that we reinvented the office chair that you can see on the photo as well. And the prototype has been done, and patents have been achieved by for those companies. So actually we do have implemented 3 solutions, 2 in the springs and 1 in the column supporting the human body, so that the spine can be, all the muscles can be a little being activated during your work.
Yep.
Yes.
So this was a short example, a real example from Poland. We are so happy about that. Can you stop that? The movie won't stop. We really want you to understand
Never-ending story.
You can sit very long if you have this. So for the comfort in living, we really believe in product development for the growing populations of people. And you see, we have a long life together for a long, long time, and for that we need good springs for the beds and for the sofas and for the chairs. So thanks you so much for this. This was a short example for what we can achieve in our project. Thank you.
So you still have some time for questions. Would you like to ask these people something? Please raise your hands. While the audience is thinking, could you give specific examples of how good it is to have this type of device, like in your bed, for human body, like how longer will I live if I will get one of these, for instance?
You will have much better rest because you can stay longer in bed and you don't have those wounds and things that you can have. The pressure is much, much lower.
Yes.
When you compare the comfort of sitting, for example, on sofas, it depends on how much you weigh. And sometimes you feel that the sofa is uncomfortable because it's stiff, and it's depend on who is sitting on it. And this material is like intelligent one. It is no matter how much you weight.
Comparing, for example, the contact pressure between our pelvis and mattresses made of furniture foam. In these two materials, we have maximal contact pressure about 8-10 kilopascals. But in contact with these materials, this spring, the maximal pressure is about 5 kilopascal. This is the equal like pressure, blood pressure in our body.
I had a question about how the collaboration between the different countries helped either come up with this spring or helped commercialize this spring, or what was the benefit of the Comfort and Living collaboration to bringing the spring into being?
Can you repeat? What are the benefits for the companies?
No, the cooperation.
Yeah,
It's about they are researchers, so they are very skilled in this technology.
Yes.
And
Yes, so
that's
the
really
first
important.
step was research in laboratories. So we invented this kind of spring that has this auxetic characteristic, and then it was another year of work to implement it into the real company. So to collaborate with the companies to put those springs first, to produce this kind of springs in the factory, and then to implement this into the real furniture.
And for the cooperation, we see a big market for 60 million inhabitants around the Baltic Sea area, and if they can sit comfortable, we can sell a lot of springs together.
Yes, and the last minute for last question, please.
Okay, nice to know that we can stay longer in bed. But what's the commercial challenges in the project?
What are the commercial challenges in the project? Could you please explain?
Well, this is much better than those one on the market. So
this is
it's a
like
new method.
you feel like on the waterbed mattress, and waterbed mattress has a lot of advantages, but also disadvantages. And it's sometimes you cannot have a water mattress in your office or in your living room. But this works exactly the same, and it's much cheaper and it's much easier to implement for each company.
No more questions, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See some movement to the left here, and it's our clean water team coming back again for their presentation and their pitch. So please come up on stage and just prepare your picture. So you just have to go.
Well, my name is Ann-Kristin Bayar. I'm representing Sustainable Sweden Southeast here in Sweden, as you understand. And I'm situated in Kalmar, directly at the Baltic Sea. And we are a business creating network.
Okay, I'm Jolanta Dvaronine. I'm representing Kaunas University of Technology in Lithuania, actually Institute of Environmental Engineering. We are dealing with water and chemical issues starting from 1991.
Hello, my name is Johanna Kilpikoski and I'm coming from Finland, from Lahti, which is located 100 kilometers from Helsinki. And I'm coming from Lahti regional company, LADEC, and we are boosting the business environment in our region.
Hello, I'm Data Szymczycha, and here's...
My name is Mirek Darecki. We both from Institute of Oceanology in Sopot from Poland. And we in the project we are dealing with all kind of environmental impact of this clean, dirty stuff we are dealing with.
Well, fresh, clean water. Isn't it fantastic? Yes. And so is also our team, Clean Water.
As you all know, in the Baltic Sea catchment lives around 100 million people. And these people, and we are all built in 70% of water. And from all available resources, there are only 3% of fresh water. 97% is salty. So do we need to take care of water? Of course, yes. And what future we want to have? Do we want to have polluted and eutrophicated water? Or we want to have fresh water with nice seaside areas? Of course, we want to have fresh water. And is it possible to clean water? And we have the answer. The possibility to have cleaner water and to clean it is, of course, establishing the Water Excellency Center platform.
Yes, this Water Excellency Center platform, it's like a one-stop shop. And what that means that the people and actors will have information related to water issues from one place. And what main activities will be in this kind of platform? Okay, improving legislation. It is very important that we can provide knowledge, technology-based knowledge and scientific knowledge for authorities that they can make a good decision. Of course, a very important factor is to boost business and scientific collaboration, and this is a way how we can have new projects, new business opportunities, and spin-off companies. And we also do training for different stakeholders, from pupils, students, maintenance from different companies, waste management companies, and also provide them activities. But the most important thing will be awareness raising all stakeholder groups.
According Japanese wisdom, to change technologies we can over the night, but to change the attitude of people, sometimes we need generations. So the main issue, key issue, to start the awareness raising in all the community members, we should start from the youngest. We should start from the kindergartens and school children, not to forget the industry, authorities, and policymakers. And of course, this should be key issue to start with the youngest one.
So our proposition is the Water Excellency Center platform. What we need to make it real? Willingness, commitment, we are committed to, trust, we have to trust, we have to build something like that, we have to trust themselves. And funding, of course, because nothing without money, but the last but not the least, we need the partners. We are already there, but we are invite you to join us.
Join us!
And there will be no song this time, but in case we are win, I think we
Okay, we still have some time for questions. Do you have any questions? I wonder how much money do you need to make a significant change? Because, you know,
As much as possible.
well,
No, from the starting point, I think it's maybe €500,000.
Yes.
and what kind of change we can get for that? You know, how this water will be more excellent? Can you measure this?
It's not the water, how excellent it would be. It is also affecting the legislation, affecting pupils, their awareness, and it's also dealing with training, because there is indirect measurements as well.
Thank you, great presentation, or pitch. But vote for Active for Life, people. I have a question, because these type of platforms, of course, are important, and the network, the ecosystems are valuable, and we have to make them grow. But you mentioned the funding issue. Don't you foresee to involve companies? Because I imagine it's very technology-based, so the companies have an interest in having such a platform. So are they going to be funders to the platform?
The companies as founders? Well, if we can work more tighter together with the universities, with the researchers, and that they are working more together with the companies so that we can get this triple helix also with the public sector. And perhaps we can motivate each other much more to develop new technology and to be more involved also in sustainability in the society, and of course for our Baltic Sea. So we had to work tighter together, we had to learn more from each other, and that's what I have learned during this project. A lot from the research and also from the scientists. And the companies, they are not perhaps ready yet, because if we look at my region in Sweden, the most of them are small and middle-sized companies, so we had to help them, be the coordinator and facilitate for working in triple helix.
And yes, and the last question.
Yeah, you were talking about that you wanted to work with legislation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. What are the main issues that you would like to focus on?
I can answer. Okay, you know, the last one in summer was the development of water issues and water politics. New micropollutants, new pharmaceuticals were involved in the watch list. So we need the resources, and we need to start a work on awareness raising, how to deal with these micropollutants in our daily life, how to manage hazardous waste, how to manage the, how to deal with the wastewater treatment plant, and also with the technologies. What kind of technologies we need to treat these micropollutants? So. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And once again, coming from clean water over to the vessels that run on water, and the lighter they are, the less they will pollute. So I think this will be a good transition to your presentation from Marchain. It's Mats Hjortberg from Coriolis AB och Kerstin Hindrum, who has been the pilot lead of Marchain. So welcome on board.
Thank you, on board. Hi, Mats. Hi.
Hi.
I'm waiting
Hi.
for you.
I took the bus.
You took the bus?
Yeah, but
Oh.
unfortunately it was delayed.
Yeah, of course. I took the boat. It is a new ferry line here. Have you heard that?
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was silence and no waves, no big waves.
Zero emission.
Zero emission, yes. And they told me it was a new ferry, new design from lightweight materials. And it was electrical motors and stored energy made of renewable power or sources. That must be the future, doesn't
But
it?
it seems like our project, isn't it?
Yes,
You are talking about our project.
Right. It is our
Yeah.
project in the Martin project.
Yeah, the project we are doing together with Danish partners
And Norwegian partners.
and Finnish partners,
And German partners.
also German partners, yes. And the project, it is about solving the urban situation for public transportation, of course, where you have buses, trams, and together with that, and in combination, you also have seaborne public transportation to complete the system in an environmentally friendly way. And as a concept study, we are working with a 35-meter lightweight ferry boat, which we really optimize from the bottom and up. We use innovative lightweight materials to reduce the weight, because lightweight is the same as saving energy. We are working with gentle hull forms, hydrodynamics, to minimize the power required. And we are also working with innovative propulsion systems, where fossil fuel is more or less abandoned. We strive to use to get a zero emission solution by storing energy, and sometimes, of course, when the distances are long, you can go for hybrid solutions where you are half-half. And yeah.
We have some challenges in this project and all these projects, because it is some sort of changing people's mind.
We are working in this project where, apart from having the academy with us, of course, for solving technical problems, we are also communicating with the society, that is communities and regions, and even the government, where we have had workshops to convince them that this is the future for public transportation. You cannot go safe, of course, but technologically you have to take some technological risks, because we are talking about innovative systems. And these innovative systems, some of them already exist. Some of them are almost existing. They are existing in prototypes. And so there are issues to get solved. But still, we want to put a price on it, because the way we're measuring the success is not only less energy. We are putting it in a bigger perspective to compare the cost. We use life cycle cost analysis as a tool and also as a driver, because it's very simple when you talk to ship owners and even communities that cost, when it comes to the bottom line, that is the real decision point. So life cycle cost is a very good mean of doing that.
But we can see the market. I think we have 50, 60 small passenger ferries just in Sweden that need to be new ferries in the next years. And that will be good possibilities. But of course, it is quite a long period. Ferry is very expensive, so you need to think in a newer way.
And in the Baltic Sea region, you have many big cities where placed close to the water. So public transportation is an issue for Stockholm, Gothenburg, Leningrad, Helsinki,
Copenhagen,
wherever. And they are all of the existing ships are very old. So the market potential is huge, only in the Baltic Sea region. And worldwide it can be an export product. Also a driver, of course, is the existence of small, very competent, small shipyards, small workshops with high competence. We can again enter into the shipbuilding business. We were once beaten by the Koreans and the Chinese, but now we are back in business, because these small ships, they are very small, but they are technologically high-tech. And having control of those, the good order we have in our region, in our mind, and the high level of education, this is a new product for us, which we can benefit in the Baltic Sea region, but we can also create export products.
Yes, and to work together in the Baltic Sea region, that is added value. And I think we also can contribute to the cleaner Baltic Sea, Ann-Christine. We can work together, not just in the maritime industry, but together with other skills. So that is our project that we wanted to tell you about. Thank you. I'm Kerstin Hindrum, SP.
And I'm Mats Hjortberg from Coriolis, Naval Architect. Thank you.
Okay. Still a few minutes. Do you have any questions? Yes, please.
I don't know anything about the physics of boats and ships, but if a boat is very light in a stormy sea, doesn't it capsize more easily? So what is the safety of your boats in comparison to normal ferries?
Yeah, that is a very easy question because the rules and regulations are very strict, and there is no half-half. You always have to comply to the rules. And me and Kerstin, we are working on that part of the naval architecture, which is maybe the most difficult when it comes to lightweight. That is fire. So we always have to comply to the fire regulations, as well as all other rules, of course.
Hi, I would like to know what has been the biggest challenge throughout your project?
The attitudes, the politicians, and to make the calculation not as just as investment money, the big money in year one that you have to pay, but the life cycle cost. And perhaps we also need to develop new business models for these new ships and other things that we need to develop for the future.
Okay, I see no more questions, but you mentioned zero emission. Is it pure zero or 0.000 something?
It's a political question, more or less, because in Sweden we consider electricity to be zero emission. It's considered to be produced 100% green. And our aim is to use energy storage on board the ship using electricity from the shoreline, not producing any power on board the ship, but to store it. That was why it becomes zero emission.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
So we are coming close to the votes and the coffee break, but still we have two contestants. Please, Ville, take place on stage. You saw him this morning regarding the Demola case, and this is the one that will be pitching. And it's sort of a horizontal approach between different sectors, but they have been active in Mobile Vikings. Yeah, so welcome on board.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Ladies and gents, I'm Ville, and here's Henrik and we're from the Demola network. Do you need to work in demo fast and with low risk? Experience shows us that getting an idea from a PowerPoint to a working product takes a lot of time. What if you could do that in 3.5 months? In Demola, university students develop product and service demos together with companies creating new solutions for real-life problems. In Demola, we combine needs and competencies into functional teams and facilitate the co-creation processes. Only during this year, more than 800 students are participating in more than 200 innovation projects.
Yes, I will just try to exemplify that by showing or describing what we did in Sweden this spring. As I mentioned before earlier today, we started this off in the spring for the first semester, and we were working with cases like Sony, BlackBerry, Alfa Laval, Doctors Without Borders, and a small startup. And I will describe a little bit more about Doctors Without Borders, but before that I just want to emphasize the case Sony just very briefly, because it really shows the strength of not only doing this between the two universities. We had 2 universities at that time. This autumn we have 3 universities. At that time we had 2 universities, and in the Sony case we had people from the 2 universities, but also from Sweden and China working the same project. And that's quite interesting because that really shows where innovation really can take off. And the example or the challenge Sony gave at that time was, what can you do with proximity awareness? And then you can ask, what the heck is that? But what if I could know who's in this room, all of you, if I could know who you are in this room, just by knowing that your mobile phones are here. And that's the only thing I have to know. And then the Chinese said, oh, that's perfect. Think if we could do that at a nightclub or in a bar in Shanghai. That would be the perfect dating service if I would know who's in that room. So that was the Chinese approach of creating some added value. Unfortunately, in that project, there were more Swedish people. So when they in the end decided for what to innovate about, they came up with also a very interesting thing. But yeah, I found it to be perhaps less attractive. That was, when you're going from this conference today, I would have sent you a ping to all your phones automatically for you to be able to download all the PowerPoints and the speeches you have seen here today. So that was the Swedish approach of knowing that you are in this room. And I like the Chinese more, I must admit. But that was just to show the interesting thing of being able to work with different cultures in innovation. Going back to Doctors Without Borders, I'm sure most of you or all of you know Doctors Without Borders. And they have doctors on the ground, of course. But that's just a small portion of the things that they actually are working with. 70% of their work is related to field service, making sure that the water is clean, that there is shelter for the people on the ground, and also making sure that there is vaccine, etc. And they had a big problem. The people working on the ground in Africa or wherever it is, they are there for the first time. Normally you only work for Doctors Without Borders for a very short period of time in your life. So you have never been exposed to such an experience before, ever. And the second thing is also that it's very often a rather stressful situation to be there. And it's also an extreme environment, so the problems that will arise there, you would probably never have seen before. Trucks break down differently in such an extreme environment than they would do if you are in a city in Sweden somewhere. And also, you have the problem with the main organization. People also work there on a very short period of time. So there is no organizational memory. In a normal organization like Ericsson or Sony or wherever, you're there for life almost, or you used to be at least. Not anymore perhaps. But in Doctors Without Borders, you are there only for a year or two. So there is no memory in that organization. And it's also a very hierarchical organization. There are silos, which might sound strange and perhaps weird, but that's the case. So then the question is, if a truck is broken down somewhere in Africa, and you as a field service person or engineer needs help, you put that question or that issue up in the system, and then hopefully 17 days later, you will get the response and an answer on how to fix that truck. And that might be okay in some cases, but in the majority of those cases, that means that the vaccine might have been out of temperature, so you have to throw out all the vaccine that will going into that village or that city. So that was really the challenge that these students got then from Doctors Without Borders. How can you help us with that? And I will not go into the details. I should have had the pitch from the students. That would have been much better. But what they came up with, which I found to be rather brilliant, it was a very simple new way of interacting with databases and with email clients. So just like if you see yourself in front of a Google search page or something, you just put in your issue or your thought there, and it turned into analyzing all the public data about that, what kind of information were there from Doctors Without Borders before, and if there were no response, it transformed automatically into an email going to the right people in those organizations. And that really helped them because before that, they didn't know whom had asked this question before in Doctors Without Borders. They did not have a clue. Who had answered this question before? They didn't know that either. And utilizing external sources was very difficult before, and there were no internal sources. But now, as they could track everything, they built up a huge database, or they could build up a big database with all this information. And what they also proposed to do was that as people are leaving that organization, and then they lose the loyalty, but being able to include ex-people or ex-staff to work with this, they increased the loyalty of these people. And that meant that someone that had been in Africa perhaps before, but were now working at some other organizations, they would perhaps jump in and answer this question because they have seen this problem before. So that was just an example of what these students came up with as a solution for Doctors Without Borders. So yeah, thanks, Ville.
Okay, thanks for the good examples. Actually, Demola is a win-win situation for all. Co-creation in Demola engages talents, companies, top academics from several fields into a unique ecosystem for building sustainable and cross-domain collaboration also in Baltic Sea region. Setting up a case in Demola is easy, and only the results matters. With Demola, you can collaborate via single interface with 25 universities around Europe and beyond. And actually, the Open Innovation Model, IPR model, is designed with the project partners, so it fits to the global policies, global legal policies of these corporations. So we are looking for new partners, new exciting cases to solve, and join the Demola community and who are willing to work with the most talented and most active students. So Demola projects starts in all regions 3 times per year, and the next round starts in January. So if you want to be in, be quick, act fast, and contact us after this show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? Any questions? While you're thinking, can you think of a problem that would be too difficult for Demola students to solve, for instance?
What kind of question was that? No.
Yeah. Like, you know, certain questions just too difficult for these Demola students. What kind of could be too difficult to solve?
Yeah, I'm sure you can find those questions.
Yeah, but your silence is also an answer.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't listen carefully. I'm a bit in doubt. These 2 examples, have they actually been implemented? Or were they just that they figured out the concepts in the demo lab?
Yes, so what they did was they created the prototypes for these. And then, as Ville said before, then the companies can license this solution from the students if they want to bring it further. So the Doctors Without Borders, they licensed it, and the other example, they did not license it.
So the software has been developed?
Yeah, or conceptualized, yes.
So
that's a different thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I think Demola is about creating prototypes and concepts in a very agile way. It's not about making final products. That's the next step of the innovation process.
On Demola Network wide, actually 80% of the results what we create are licensed by the companies. So I think this is quite strong evidence on the results what students can create. To answer your question about the 2 difficult cases, I think the 2 difficult cases are the simple subcontracting tasks. That's not for the students. There's local SMEs who are better to solve this. But especially when you're looking for another alternative, something that are beyond your own competencies, these cross-disciplinary combinations, then Demola is the place to be.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we are now having the final pitch. It's Philip and his colleague. You will introduce him, yeah, David. And they come from Cluster 55, one of the members in Mobile Vikings. So welcome on board.
Hello, everyone. Hold the applause, hold the applause. And please do vote for us, because we realized today we actually want to win this. So what do we have that can be good enough for your vote? Well, some people consider it magic, what we've done. So if I'm a magician today, of course, I have my beautiful assistant here, David. And I don't know if all of you actually know what was written in the beginning of this project. The BSR Stars gave us a challenge to create sustainable SME networks, business networks. And for any one of you active in the cluster economy, etc., in cluster reality, it's extremely important to generate real quick value for the members, for the companies, the researchers that you represent. And we thought a very, very low-hanging fruit was to assist all other cluster organizations, giving their members the same benefits as I give my members in Sweden, for free. And that sounded like a very strange idea, most people thought. But we realized that if we stop being protectionistic about our regional interest and actually embrace the macroeconomics of a BSR region, we can create difference. So what we did, what we said was that we just happened to have a few offices. So we said, you know what? Let's start with the simplest thing. If your members want to come do business in Sweden, they should do business like we do business in our offices. They should join our network, but they don't have to pay for it. So we said that all clusters around Europe should unite sectorally. So we created something that we call the business roaming agreements. So it's a legal contract. So for all of you policymakers, it's extremely simple. You can implement it from a top-down perspective, but you need bottom-up organizations that believe and trust and have actually built up the trust relationships with each other. So we have created a simple legal framework that now, how many partners, David?
There are 45 partners in total at the moment, but it's rising every day. So actually we got a new one today, so it should be 46. So.
Okay. And we have opened the offices, and in reality we opened access. We have democratized market access, because if there's one thing which is extremely evident as you work, is that it's very good business contacts are very scarce, or they're extremely abundant here. But when I go and visit 200 brilliant young students at the university in Kaunas, for instance, there is lots of talent, but it's very unfair that I have the market access to all of the potential clients that they want to do business with. So this is a way to structure their access to it, and it's completely free. Anybody who signs it is obligated not to charge any money for the simplest services that any member organization share. And this has started. We launched this at the TCI conference together as a result of this project, and it's growing with roughly, I don't know, a new partner per week.
A few partners every week actually.
Yeah.
We're currently have 50 new partners in the loop, so within a few weeks.
So from an investment, so from an investment perspective, we don't need any money. We just need friends, because friends help friends, and that's the common part. And so in the last few weeks, we have had lots of companies moving around different offices. We had one of our members using our office in Los Angeles just the other week. He came home and was very eager and happy, because anybody who does business needs to do that in a context. And so we started, and so this is a direct result of the project, and it started with all of the ICT clusters around the Baltic Sea region. It has expanded quickly to Europe. We now have partners on 4 continents, and we're bringing in South America in the next few weeks. So this has also resulted in lots of joint bilateral projects. But the key thing here is this is distributed and decentralized. So any member of this contract, or any company member of any cluster organization, science park, whatever, who signed it, can use it. And they don't have to, it's not regulated. You can use it, you don't have to contact us. So in that way, we try to build it so that it's self-sustaining. And it's that simple. And please vote for us, because we're the ones with the funny picture and the strange hat for some reason. I don't know where that came from. So we'll take questions.
Questions. While you are thinking, could you give a concrete example when a new partner joined this agreement and something good happened.
Absolutely. It's kind of funny. Now, since we have more and more partners joining, it has become some form of a competition. So they want to, some of these players, of course, have a keen interest in promoting their region. So, for instance, if you go down here to the West Balkans, I know that the partner that signed there, as an extra incentive, you get a secretary and a personal chauffeur that drives you to all of your business meetings for a week. Of course, but the good reality is that we have, it basically visualizes where the business potentials are, what regions in the world are open for business, in this case ICT, but this can be implemented for any sector, I feel.
Hi. I have a question. You have lots of places, but let's say if I want to be your partner, I mean, do I have to guarantee a certain amount of seats or a certain size, or?
Yeah, you do. You have to promise that you're a kind and loving person, like we think you are. So you say that any company that wants to come, which is your region? You're in Riga, okay. So we have a brilliant partner in Riga called Latvia IT Cluster. So they say, you know what? If there's something we have, it's space, and if there's something we have, it's room in our hearts. So they will invite you. I think Lilita will even take you to lunch, and she will tell you, you know what? Latvia is a great place to do business, but it's tricky. So I will teach you everything you need to know, a quick rundown on business culture. And then you say, use our office, these are the events going on this week, and take care of, I mean, she'll help you.
But if she's taking care of somebody else, and I mean, at what point does she say no to the next, to the 5th guy, to the 7th guy, to the 10th guy? I mean,
we don't know. It's free to join, it's free to leave. If you actually believe it's a burden that people want to come to your region and do business, then you're definitely not the right partner for the business roaming agreement.
To sit in your office, I mean, you have an office of a certain size, or not?
Yeah. You have, it's limited, so you can have the agreement itself stipulates that you're not allowed to charge, and you're able to use an office for 5 days.
Okay.
So we don't like people working out of hotels.
Thank you. It sounds really interesting concept that, like you said, I see potential to be applied at other areas like Active for Life, for example. One thing I'm curious is, I imagine you need to have some sort of formal platform, IT-based perhaps.
Yep.
And how do you finance that? How do you have your sustainability model for yourselves?
Well, we as a cluster organization have a very complex and multitude way of financing ourselves. But we do have a platform, and it's thanks to the great generosity of the project and the lead partner, especially Vinnova, that did a small cash injection. So injection in the beginning. So we do have a website. It's called businessroamingagreement.com. You can go in there. You can check out all the locations. You don't have to ask me, David, or anybody else to use a location if you're connected. So yeah, we had a small, but it's extremely cheap to maintain. And it's a one-page document that takes you 4 minutes to read. So there's no, this comes from that there has been so many different ambitions to do different types of soft landing agreements centrally through the European Union, and they have been very complex and lots of bottlenecks everywhere. So this is just taking a very complex problem, which is internationalization of SMEs, and applying a really simple methodology.
Yes, it's like 50 seconds for the last question.
What's the catch? Sounds too good to be true.
Yeah, that's why I did the reference of magic. But, well, the catch is, of course, that, we haven't found it yet. We do have, lots of people believe, oh, but it'll be such a problem, you know, hundreds of companies will be coming to our office. Sure, then you don't, you might think so, but in reality, it's a few here and there. This is one tool out of many. It's free to use, it's free to apply, and it's...
Yeah, and the last 10 seconds for the last question.
No, in fact, it's not a question. I think, Philip, correct me if I'm wrong, there is no catch. You give something that you have. There are resources sitting there. Nobody uses them.
Yeah.
So you actually make more efficient what you already have. And the financement you already have is simply sitting there.
Well, we have built up this structural capital, and we think it's ridiculous that more people don't use it. It's that simple. It's democratizing internationalization. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you.
Vote for us, please.
So, we almost made it in time. We were a bit delayed in the start, but I don't think it matters. So, now it's up to you, audience. Either you think that you will take of your own money to invest in one of these ideas, or you use your, I can't make this, well, it's a heart actually. If you feel really your heart is bouncing for one of the pitches, put your vote for that, or it might be your brain saying something else, put your vote for that. And when you are leaving, you will see that Rytis will look at you and really angry if you don't pick a marble, happy if you pick one, and then you put it in one of the cans, and you will see the title of the pitch and also a picture of those who have been pitching, so you will recognize it. And they are placed in the order of the speeches. So these are the three ways you can remember which one of it was. So, Rytis, do you have something to say or no? No? So, leaving out that door for the coffee break, and please be back at 3:45. Yeah. Thank you for now.